Shalom, shalom is yet another moment that we have been privileged to meet and talk again. And today we are going to check intensively on the mysteries of garments. When you walk in the streets, every sane man is well covered. His nakedness. You find that people dress in different fabrics so that they can look presentable. You know, every person, every sane man and woman has a sense of shame when their nakedness is exposed. And unless the programming of this secular world where nudity has been exchanged with the fashion, but when things are normal, you'll get to understand that no one will like to expose his nakedness, and there is a sense of shame whenever any man is naked. And we would like to check in the scriptures, try to find truth behind the mystery of garments. God originally created man in his image and likeness. And when he created man, he did not put any cotton fabric or any linen or any polyester material around his body. Man was clothed with light. Light was his covering. And when man rebelled, you find that he walked in darkness, and the light that shielded him as a garment, the light that clothed him and beautifies his image, became darkness, and he was exposed. So I would like us to go in details and see what exactly happened when we find Psalms 104, begin from verse number 2. Psalms 104, begin from verse number 2. Let me begin from verse 1. It says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul. O Lord my God, you are great. You are clothed with honor and majesty. Who cover yourself with light as with a garment, who stretch out the heavens like curtains." I want us to understand one striking truth there. God doesn't wear clothes. God uses light as a garment. And man was created in the likeness and image of God. This is why we see that when man fell, God had to make tunics out of the animal that was killed in the Garden of Eden to clothe man of his nakedness. A type and a shadow of Jesus Christ, who will come in his death, burial, resurrection. He will clothe man with a garment of righteousness. And this type of garment, when you have, you will find that Like Jesus when he was in the Garden of Eden, Gethsemane, in the Mount Olive, when he prayed and his body, was transfigured and began to glitter. Light radiated out of him that you could not see his body, even his clothes. The same way, even Stephen, when when he was witnessing to the rebellious Sanhedrin, he also changed his visage. So I would like us to understand that God created man, and he did not put any cloth on him. He did not. He probably, or it has to be, because though he was naked, but he was not exposed. Let's check this Bible truth in Genesis chapter number 2. To see the beginning, you find that begin from verse 2. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living being. Now, when we go in the same chapter in verse 25, and they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. So he's talking, they were both naked, the man and his wife, and they were not ashamed. We all know when you are naked, your nakedness should bring shame. So this type of nakedness is not nudeness, but is openness, that which is enjoyed between a husband and wife. Is that openness whereby there is nothing hidden, that does not come along with shame. The sharing of the vision, the sharing of your matrimonial bed, the sharing of the pain and joy. They were both naked. So you find that you expose yourself freely to your husband and you are not ashamed. This is not the type of nudity. Now, when we go in this chapter number 3 and begin from verse number 7, he say, then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves a covering. Okay. Then their eyes were open, and they knew that they were naked. You see? And knew that they were naked. So this type of naked made themselves to sew a covering. When we go down, verse 8, and they heard the sound of the Lord walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God among the fig tree. Then the Lord God called to Adam and said to him, where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. I heard the voice, and I hid myself. because I was afraid and I was naked. This type is not still, it's not nudity. When man is nude, when man is naked, he ought to be ashamed. Nakedness is come along with shame. But this type of nakedness, he say, I heard your voice. I was naked, then I was afraid. This type of nakedness brings fear instead of shame. Is not nudeness. It is the stripping of the glory and honor that God had placed upon man. When sin came, prior to that, Adam and Eve, they have just rebelled. And rebellion has stripped man of his glory and honor. So he is in the realm of shame and fear. The glory is that which gives him dominion and rulership and authority in the Garden of Eden. Because you are a servant of whom you obey. And the one you obey supply the authority you rule with. So Adam have just disobeyed God and lost the delegated authority to the Satan, has become a slave of Satan. And because of that, he has been stripped of the dominion and he is in the place of shame. You see? So the shame has come. And this is the reason why when Jesus Christ came only to restore that which man has lost. When you find in Psalms chapter number 8, begin from verse number 5, he say, you have made, okay, let me begin from verse 4. Verse 4, he say, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visited him? For you have made him a little lower than the angels, and you have crowned him with glory and honor. You have crowned him with glory and honor. When you go in the book of Lamentation and you read what Jeremiah wrote about in his lamentation about the fall of man in the Garden of Eden, he was referring to chapter number 5. He said, he was talking about, begin from verse 15, the joy of our hearts have ceased. Our dance has turned into mourning. The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us. In other words, curses to us, for we have sinned. Because of this, our hearts faint. Now, once the crown fall, the crown was a symbol of authority. The crown was a symbol of dominion. And now that the crown has fallen, even honor is gone. Slaves are reigning over us, says Jeremiah in the book of Lamentation. A state of servitude, a state of bondage, where man was not created to be a slave or a subject to any. He was to be the master, but rebellion has stripped off that dominion. And that's where Jesus Christ came. He's come to do what? To restore. He said, you have crowned him with glory and honor. You have made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under his feet. So Jesus Christ came to restore the dominion. The psalm that I've already read, this is messianic psalm. It was pointing to Jesus Christ. His death, burial, and resurrection was meant to restore the crown on the head of man, the dominion that man had lost, to free man from the bondage of corruption, that his rebellion subjected him and the creation under the corruption. And the whole creation was waiting for the manifestation of sons. And Jesus Christ, being the firstborn, begotten of God, he came and broke the shackles and bondage of the wicked one and opened the prison gates, so that all that were held hostage by the sin and eternally prisoners of death, by Christ being life and resurrection, revived man back to life. And he took away all that shame. That when we know, that is the reason why the angels were singing in Revelation chapter number 5, and begin from verse number 10. He said, and have made us kings and priests to our God, and we shall reign on the earth. We shall reign on the earth. So it means we lost dominion at that point. But he said, we shall reign on earth. Then I looked, and I heard the voice of many angels around the throne, the living creatures and the elders, and the number of them was 10,000 times 10,000, and thousands of thousands, saying with a loud voice, worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive power, riches, and wisdom, and strength, and honor, and glory, and blessings. You see, honor and glory and blessings. You will get to understand that these are the 7 keys of life upon which man lost. These are 7 keys of dominion that the crown of Adam represents. And that the fall of this crown became the reason why toiling, why affliction, why defeat, and bondage and corruption became prevailed against man. Any man who has these 7 keys restored back to him, he functioned in the place of dominion again. When you see, when you have this dominion, irrespective of what happens to you, you can command and you can dominate your environment. You cannot be victimized by the ecosystem you find yourself in. Your environment cannot really victimize you, but you will always be a victim. And any man who has not been restored, the restoration mechanism is only Jesus Christ that can restore. Salvation is the system available upon which we can be restored back into the place of dominion. A person who has not been restored, no matter how good he look on the natural, no matter how developed his mind is, how his body has been developed, or how his finances has been improved, and the technology or science around him, he is still in bondage of decay and corruption. In that time will give opportunity for decay to decompose him completely. That no matter what achievement he has made, no matter what height or what advancement he has made, he will surely go back to the grave, because the grave has been commanded to swallow whatsoever has not been vitalized and quickened by the resurrection life. So Jesus is the only quickener. His death, burial, resurrection was redemptive in nature, and is what redeemed us from from cohorts of darkness, Satan, the world, and the flesh. And once we have him in us, you'll get to know that the limitation of this world will be used. For example, when we have finished our service on earth, whatsoever come our way, you see, it is just death will only be used as a transporting mechanism. It is just a means of transport to transfer us to the next glory. But death on its own cannot consume you when your time is not yet. When you have not finished your time, even if hell tried to swallow, it vomits you back. We saw it when it happened to Paul. Even the venomous serpent tried to fix their fangs in his body, to spread the poison in his body. But he only shook it on the fire and continued. So you find to understand that what man lost, the rebellion stripped man of this authority, of this glory. And because of that, man became fearful, man became sorrowful, and man became sinful. And when this took the center stage of man, that is when now man became naked. That is when man became naked. You see, so we have really tried to explain on that, and I know that the Lord will use this to build us up until next time, and the next episode where we will carry on and explain much on this. Just you stay blessed and see you in the next teaching. Shalom, shalom.